Hello and a very good evening. Welcome to Meridian Tonight. First this evening, in a tragic medical first, a woman from the south has become the only patient in the world to have ME confirmed as her cause of death. For 7 years, Sophia Mirza, who was just 32, battled a crippling disease that many refused to even accept existed.
Sophia was committed to a psychiatric hospital and her family claim this is what led to her death. Now they've been backed by a coroner who for the first time has put ME on her death certificate. Stacey Poole has our exclusive report.
Creona Wilson clings to the death certificate of the daughter she lost to ME.
It was a privilege to have known her, and an even greater privilege to have her as a daughter.
She promised her daughter her life would not be lost in vain, and the fact it's now written in black and white means doctors can no longer dismiss this condition as a mental illness when it clearly can kill.
The day before she died, I told her that her life would affect hundreds of other people for the better, and I said that to her. And then literally her last words were, "Good, it's all been worthwhile." She was so brave. So brave.
Sophia was just 26 when she developed ME. 1 minute she was travelling the world, the next she was in agonising pain, unable to move. But instead of being treated by doctors, they locked her up in a psychiatric hospital, a move which her mother believes caused her death. She has a message for those who doubted the condition was real.
I would say, come and live the life of somebody with ME, severe ME. Live it for 1 week or 1 month. Live it in the conditions they have to live, with the disbelief they have to live, with the agony, the pain they have to live, being subjected to seeing doctors who bypass them and say it's all in their head and everything. Live that, then tell me you don't believe it exists.
250,000 patients are currently living with ME, but many are still totally disbelieved by their doctors. And even those in the medical profession who do believe can offer no real treatment for the severely affected. But Sophia's death will hopefully begin to change that, because when they examined her spinal cord, it showed there was clear evidence of disease, proving this is not a mental illness.
75% of the sensory cells in the spinal cord showed significant abnormality suggestive of an underlying neurological disorder which is not known to be part of any known psychiatric condition. She deserved to be seen by a neurologist and managed by a multidisciplinary team rather than being left in a psychiatric hospital.
Sophia's family believes she would be alive today if she'd received proper care, and campaign groups are now calling for change before another ME patient loses their life.
What is going on in this country is unacceptable for people with ME, and that there isn't any provision made to treat the physical symptoms of this physical illness.
People would be shocked at the thousands of people who've got a similar story to Sophia. And some of these people haven't got family to look after them, haven't got friends to look after them. They've to struggle through on their own.
To try and stop this suffering, Creona is now campaigning for justice. And only when the doctors who sectioned her daughter are held accountable will she feel she has some justice for Sophia.
Well, Stacey joins us now in the studio. Stacey, what will Creona do now with proof that her daughter did die from something very serious?
Well, she's going to go to the General Medical Council and make an official complaint. She wants those who sectioned her daughter to be held accountable. It's actually hard to believe, but they physically broke down her front door and forcibly removed Sophia into a psychiatric hospital where she was never actually treated for the underlying condition. Now, the result of this inquest proves she was suffering from a chronic disease and not a mental illness. So hopefully someone will now sit up and listen.
Of course, Stacey, this is one of just a number of reports you've done for us. Can you remind us again what really ME is?
Well, it varies from patient to patient, but in the most severely affected cases, and I've seen an awful lot of these, patients lie in a darkened room because they can't tolerate light or noise. They're in chronic pain. Most of them are unable to move and unable to speak. And at the moment, there is literally nothing that can be done to help those that are really severely affected.
And will Sophia's case help get more funding for research, much needed funding for research?
Well, Andy, it can only help. At the moment, not one single penny of government money is actually going into research into this condition. All of the money comes from charitable donations. Now, they have made some significant steps forward. They found that some of the genes in ME patients are different from those in us. But that is only one step forward. They need so much more money. And hopefully this case will make people realise that that needs to be done soon.
Sadly, this has come too late for Sophia, but thank you for joining us on that tonight, Stacey.